I spent the last 3 months of my life trying to figure out how much faster I could get on a mountain bike. I actually made a video about it. You might like it. You should check it out. What I didn't cover in that video was what I managed to learn. What were the most important takeaways? This is that video. I honestly don't even remember the first time that I got on a bike. That's how long ago it was. I've been riding a bike forever. And as a result, I made one fundamentally flawed assumption, which was that I knew how to ride a bike. My riding still isn't where I want it to be, but it's making headway. And the reason that I'm able to make this headway is actually because I'm a musician. Okay, so bear with me, but if you don't mind reading a book about practicing music, the lessons found in Kenny Werner's Effortless Mastery apply to everything under the sun. The idea is that our movements need to feel natural and effortless, easy. If you're practicing and you find yourself tensing up or forcing things, look at the step that comes before and make sure that that one is truly dialed in. The goal is to commit it to muscle memory and make it completely reflexive. Then you can move on knowing that your control is absolute. It's proven true in my music, and it's starting to prove true on the bike too. But for me to get to my weak points, I had to chase them all the way back to the very foundations: weight distribution and body position. Think about the bottom bracket. It's the epicenter of the bike. It's the only platform that is designed on the bike to support all of your weight through your feet. And with that in mind, that's exactly what it turns out we're supposed to do. I'd hear keep your weight centered a lot. I found when I was working on cornering in particular that with my weight too far over the front of the bike, or centered, balanced between the front and the rear wheel, my bike just wasn't responding to the inputs that I was giving it. You know, I'm really starting to realize how much of a fine line there is between being too far over the bars and the exact right amount over the bars. I'd feel like I was fighting the bike, like it wouldn't want to lean over or maneuver. What I needed to hear was keep your weight over the bottom bracket. Once I figured that out and started to keep my weight in my feet, that's when the bike came alive. And you'd know it if you felt it. I can talk about keeping your weight over the bottom bracket until I'm blue in the face, but it's not going to help you get there without the hip hinge. I've started to think of the hip hinge in one very specific way, which is that we're going to use our butt as a counterweight for our torso. So as our torso leans forward, our butt's going to shift back. We want to feel planted, and we want to feel like our weight is evenly balanced between the heel and the toe of each foot. We also want to make sure that we don't arch our back or collapse in our spine. We can do a quick little test that looks something like this to figure it out. If we're arching our spine, we won't be able to actually extend our arms all the way up. And if we're rolling our spine, instead of our arms following the line of our back, they're going to be pointing down. In spite of my previous history with the hip hinge through weight training, I found it really helpful to come back to it off the bike first. I actually stumbled across a great drill that really helped me reinforce my understanding of both the hip hinge and my weight placement. I was just screwing around in a parking lot and I started trying to ride around with no hands, standing up out of the saddle with my knees too wide to pinch the seat. Obviously, I'm trying to maintain a good hip hinge and I want to make sure that all of my weight is in my feet over the bottom bracket. In this position, your balance is highly precarious. Every subtle weight change left to right will really make the whole bike want to lean over, and without your hands to help guide it, it is near impossible. But it's incredible for really reinforcing that position because you'll be able to feel how maneuverable the bike is just from your feet. You know, there's been lots of other discoveries that I've made along the way, but these were the two ones that had the most dramatic impact on my overall riding. Anytime you're riding, you're working on these things, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, and it's just a matter of bringing it to mind if it is something that you want to put some work into. Okay, yeah, I'm a little embarrassed that I didn't really understand what keeping your weight centered means. What can I say? I think in 3 dimensions, not my fault. Hopefully you're smarter than me and that wasn't a problem that you were having. But if that was something that you've been struggling with, don't sweat it. You're in good company. These were a couple things that I managed to learn from a few of my mistakes. So until I have some more mistakes to share with you, I'll see you next time. And then when you see yourself played back, sorry, I just had to kill a mosquito with the phone, you realize that you weren't anywhere near as dynamic